Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Scorpio January 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing is, as far as January goes, the sun will be in Capricorn from the 1st until the 20th. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be about a strong focus, concentration of energy, attention into structure and discipline in one's communications. It could be in dealings with siblings if applicable and with neighbors as well. Responsibilities to communications. It could also be the responsibilities to siblings, to neighbors, and to it could be also to just could be matters connected with short journeys as well. So, and doing them with a lot of seriousness, which is Capricorn-like, of course. Now, the next thing I want to get to, as far as January goes, the sun will be in Aquarius from the 20th until the 31st. So the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, this could be about a lot of focus, concentration of energy and attention into friends, social networking, individuality, and uniqueness, perhaps being the foundation of life. And it could be also just in general, a lot of attention and concentration of energy and focus into Aquarius-like things with the home and family. It could be things connected with aerospace, astronomy. It could be esoteric subjects such as astrology. It could be things connected with electronics, with computers. It could be doing something like setting some kind of sophisticated electronic alarm system in one's home, perhaps as an example. Or anyway, it could also be about breaking free, extricating oneself from older, more orthodox or conventional traditions, and more of a focus perhaps on ones that might be somewhat eclectic or unorthodox and unconventional, being really not being prohibited or really having your freedom prohibited in matters connected with the home as well in family life. So anyway, next thing is, well, the full moon will be in Cancer on January the 2nd. So the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, this could be in some cases about maybe becoming full or tired of an overly temperamental, moody, clingy, emotional grandchild, or even an in-law in some cases, where Scorpio just finally lets it out and says enough is enough, basically, so to speak. So it could also be in some cases a completion of a zodiac sign Cancer college course, such as something with culinary, cooking, real estate, and really or something even with plumbing or restaurant management. So this could be a very strong emotional period for Scorpio, where a lot of these emotions really come to full circle and really are unleashed very strongly. And it could be over matters too connected with higher education, as I stated before, in-laws, grandchildren, even connected with perhaps a long distance journey as well. So, or is something connected with traveling abroad, something that maybe Scorpio becomes tired of in connection with that. So anyway, the next thing is, well, the new moon will be in Capricorn on January 16th. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be perhaps about a new period of authority, perhaps maybe with siblings, where you take on more of an authority, authoritative type role with them. You may be, in some cases, it could be about organizing maybe starting to be an organizer of a neighborhood watch type community. This could also be about perhaps the beginning of some long-term writing project, one that has a lot of longevity and is very sustained, and that you do very consistently, do on a consistent basis. And the writing could be connected with something Capricorn, like it could be connected with like dentistry, politics, information technology, things that are career related and matters connected with one's stature in life and being successful could be another thing as an example. So anyway, well, the next thing is, well, Mercury will be in Sagittarius from January 1st until the 11th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, it could be about speaking that real unabashed, veritable truth, perhaps in matters connected with finances. And it could also be about maybe speaking maybe their own veritable truth, or speaking in a very blunt and even tactless manner in matters connected with their self-esteem and self-worth, and really will speak perhaps very boldly about this, but at the same time could be thinking very enthusiastically and positively and optimistically about how they feel about themselves, and really about their self-worth and self-esteem at this time. There could be a lot more philosophical discussions, perhaps about monetary matters and maybe how to generate more income, and really thinking more philosophically about those things. So anyway, well, the next thing is Mercury will be in Capricorn as far as January goes from the 11th until the 31st. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, Scorpio needs to be careful not to become too melancholy or too despondent in their way of thinking, and perhaps in regards to short journeys, or having to take maybe a short journey they don't want to, or maybe matters with siblings, with neighbors. And on another more positive side, though, this could be a time where it could be very positive, I think, for Scorpio, perhaps to do something where you could be, Mercury and Capricorn energy could be about compartmentalizing things. And this could be really where you're thinking along those lines. And given that's the third house, it could be something where, compartmentalizing something associated with the computer, such as defragmenting it, and really doing, and this could be a very good time for that, I believe, because when you talk about the third house, it's about communications in general, and anything that could be related to that. And of course, computers are a very strong component of communications in most people's everyday lives. So anyway, and this also could be about being very careful in articulating what you're saying at this time, and speaking with a lot of being very prudent in really in what you say, and very cautious and really in matters in communications, perhaps with siblings and with neighbors and people that you meet during your short journeys, whether you're going to a store in the neighborhood or what have you. So anyway, well, the next thing is, well, Venus will be in Capricorn as far as January goes, from the 1st until the 17th. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be about expressing perhaps enjoyment in having very consistent, perhaps enduring communications. It's really about not enjoyment of having peaceful communications, but ones that aren't frivolous, ones that are really very serious, and really being stern in that expression, so to speak, and really where you're not really expressing a lot of animation in those communications. This could also be in some cases where Scorpio, if unattached, may find a prospective romantic partner or significant other that might be in their neighborhood. That could be a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply could be somebody that embodies those characteristics. That could be somebody that that might be very mature, could be older, responsible, an ambitious person, somebody that is very success oriented, so to speak. And it could be that money might be made in one's neighborhood at this time, doing something in the neighborhood, or maybe it matters with siblings or somebody you see in your day-to-day communications or during your short journeys. So anyway, next thing is, well, Venus will be in Aquarius as far as January goes from the 17th until the 31st. So the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be in some cases expressing of love and enjoyment for doing things that are unusual, unorthodox, things associated with computers, electronics, with home and family members, and being really at home with these things as well. And it could be in some cases, if Scorpio is unattached, that somebody, and a love that could be somebody rather unusual, eccentric, unorthodox. It could be a person that embodies Aquarius-like characteristics, or in some cases could be an Aquarius sun, moon, or ascendant. And it could be somebody that they meet through a home or family member. And it could be somebody that they may just really feel close to home with, so to speak. So anyway, also looking at this as well. I mean, this could also be about expressing perhaps enjoyment in traditions, and it could be ones that are rather unique and unorthodox or eclectic, ones that are really non-traditional, if you understand what I'm saying, so to speak. So, and really, anyway. The next thing I want to get to is, okay, Mars will be in Scorpio as far as January goes, from the 1st until the 26th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, Scorpio might come across at this time as a little bit more acerbic, a little bit more acrimonious, and a little more quick-tempered than usual, and could become a little agitated quicker, and it could be with a lot of biting sarcasm, Scorpio like sarcasm with caustic remarks, and things, and really saying things that could really maybe hit home and hurt somebody pretty deeply. So at the same time, this could be also about Scorpio having a lot more, really a surfeit of energy at this time, and have more stamina and vitality than usual, but at the same time there could be a greater propensity for accidents. It could be by trying to rush, maybe you could be investigating some mystery, trying to get to the bottom of something or figuring something out, something Scorpio like that might perhaps cause this. So anyway, another thing too is that, I mean, you look at this as well in this Mars and Scorpio energy. There could be a lot. I mean, Mars and Scorpio could be about putting a lot of energy into Scorpio-like things. I think it's more emphasized with this being, we're talking about the first house and Mars and Scorpio. So it really putting a lot of energy perhaps into things like astrology, the occult, supernatural, magic, alchemy. It could be forensics. It could be things of an investigative nature, so in problem solving. Anyway, next thing up, Mars will be in Sagittarius as far as January goes, from the 26th until the 31st. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be about a lot of exuberant and enthusiastic energy, perhaps into generating income, and into matters, and into doing things that may play a role in Scorpio's self-esteem. And it could be getting involved, maybe doing things connected with sports or the outdoors. And this could help maybe elevate Scorpio's self-worth and self-esteem. And it could be as well at this time that Scorpio might get a little bit more irritated or exasperated, perhaps at maybe people messing with their possessions, even just picking an item up and looking at it, and it could come out with a lot of this kind of this really blunt and outspoken Sagittarius like anger. So anyway, And also there could be more the situation like at the place where Scorpio is generating income and making money. This could be about also where the situation maybe with somebody at that place that works alongside Scorpio at that place where Scorpio is generating income. The situation with that person, one or more people, can be more contentious and acrimonious than usual. So anyway, next thing is Jupiter will be in Scorpio still, so the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, the first thing is that Scorpio might come across a little bit more expansive and upbeat and optimistic than usual, more jocular, but the jokes might be ones that have a little sarcastic and caustic flavoring, and ones that maybe are a little bit subtle, and you might have to think a little deeply in some cases in order to get them. Now, also, this could be about Jupiter does have the propensity to expand. I mean, I understand this could be, you're talking about Jupiter and first house. This could be a very fortuitous time for Scorpio, but at the same thing, Jupiter can be paradoxical, can also enlarge and expand. Sometimes this could expand the Scorpio-like characteristics, which could be good and bad. I mean, expanding perhaps the sarcastic nature and the surreptitiousness connected with the sign, the sneakiness, but also the resourcefulness, the resiliency, and perhaps luck connected with those positive Scorpio-like characteristics as well, such as as I stated before, the resiliency, being resourceful, being able to really bounce back from adversity, and really through having just that Scorpio-like indomitable spirit and that very strong and powerful willpower that Scorpio does exude. So anyway, it could also be in some cases, though, especially if we're talking about the literal first house, and if this is making a conjunction, especially to a Scorpio ascendant, this could expand that waistline, and there could be a little greater proclivity or propensity to put on weight at this time. It could be some real dark or rich foods that maybe Scorpio needs to avoid at this time. And remember, sometimes holding on to anger and grudges, which Scorpio is notorious for doing. Scorpio, I think, is really unequivocally the most vengeful sign of the zodiac, and can hold on to grudges for a while. And sometimes that prolonged anger that Scorpio might hold on to, an occasion can lead to overindulging and overeating, which of course could lead to obesity. So this is it's a time to be careful about that when you're talking about Jupiter and Scorpio and first house energy. Now, next thing up, Saturn will still be in Capricorn, of course, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be about really, in general, restrictions and limitations in matters connected with communications. It could be with siblings and neighbors, and even short journeys, which could cause this Capricorn-like perhaps despondency and make Scorpio feel somewhat melancholy as well because of this. In some cases, this could be about taking care of a debilitated sibling, or even perhaps a neighbor in some instances. There can be restrictions with short journeys. Sometimes this could manifest in being maybe something, maybe difficulties or with a vehicle that usually is reliable, that maybe you're having trouble getting it fixed, and being able to really take yourself out to run on errands or whatever you have to do in the neighborhood. So those are some things to look at this time. And it could be too that the father might figure more prominently in your communications at this time, and perhaps in really maybe with siblings, with your siblings as well, if applicable. So anyway, the next thing is, well, Uranus will still be in Aries, so the sixth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, this could be about, in some cases, an unusual or enigmatic type illness or sickness. There could be a lot of fluctuations with matters related to employment and health at this time. I have Uranus almost exactly conjunct my sixth house cusp in my natal chart. And I mean, I have really, I have like I've said this before, at least in one other video, that I have extensive nerve damage, and I feel on occasion it'll be like tingling, like shock sensations in my body. And I'm not saying that somebody that has this, Uranus in sixth house, everybody's going to have that, but I'm saying that is a possibility. This is also about where perhaps computers and the internet could figure more prominently in the daily routine than usual. And it could also be about injecting more ingenuity and more of an innovative side into the place where you work at, and it could be done with a lot of that pioneering, like Aries energy. So anyway, people. Well, the next thing is that Neptune will still be in Pisces, so the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be about perhaps experiencing some confusion and delusion, and really deception, even matters connected with children, if applicable, and a romantic partner perhaps. This could be also about, in some cases, where something Neptune-like could wind up becoming a hobby. For Scorpio, it could be something with the metaphysical, such as astrology, or it could be photography, chemistry, something. It could be something that is Neptune-like, even doing things like as a magician, like things with illusion, things of something that could be Neptune related. In some cases, this could be about where Scorpio might have to contend or deal with a romantic partner, or even a child that might succumb to drug and or alcohol use, or even an accidental assimilation of a drug such as radon. And this also, in some cases, Neptune could be about dissolving and dissipating energy, and it might feel to Scorpio like maybe a relationship with a child might be dissipating with a romantic partner. It could even be an interest in a hobby or some creative endeavor as well. So anyway, the another thing is that I want to get to is that Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, I mean, I hate to use the dreaded D word, but you know I'm going to. In some isolated cases, this could represent a death, a literal death of a sibling, and in others, it could be maybe a neighbor that Scorpio knows very well. It could be also about the obliteration and destruction of communications. It doesn't mean that there's something going to happen with Scorpio's voice and they won't be able to speak again. I know in some isolated cases something could happen where the voice might, there might be something where the voice might give out or something in some cases. I mean, which could be very rare, but in isolated cases this could be. But in most cases, this is more about a figurative end of people that are in your communications. But at the same time, Pluto is also about rebirth and regeneration. So when something goes away, it can be destroyed. That's connected with with this Pluto energy. Something could also supplant it afterwards. So anyway, and also this could be about power struggles with siblings and with neighbors as well, and really that's what a lot of this could be about as far as Pluto and third house energy goes. So anyway, the next thing I want to get to is that the North Node will still be in Leo, so the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, this could be about I mean, when you talk about the North Node in transit, it could be about confronting certain issues. This could be about issues connected with extravagance in career-related matters, and maybe matters with an authority figure or the dominant parent, which is often the father. It could be where Scorpio has to maybe be more generous in those matters as well. And also about maybe getting attention, notoriety, and recognition for one's career accomplishments, to be lauded and praised perhaps by superiors, by an authority figure, and even by the dominant parent, which, as I stated before, is often the father. So this could also be about matters of taking pride and dignity in one's public image and their reputation as well, and really having that focus on it at this time, and really giving that strong attention to it and directing your energies in those matters. So anyway, next thing up is the Black Moon Lilith will still be in Capricorn, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, this could be, in some cases, this could be an unveiling or some revelation, perhaps of a sibling, a neighbor, that might be displaying some kind of ruthless or tyrannical qualities, even ones that might, in some cases, this could be about in isolated cases, could be about a sexual abuse that maybe is revealed to you by a sibling, that they reveal that they've been abused, or even a neighbor that you have a strong rapport and connection with. This is also, in some cases, this could be about a very formidable adversary that is revealed or unveiled, that in some cases could be a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply embodies those characteristics. That could be in your neighborhood. It could be somebody that you're involved with your consistent communications. It could be somebody, and in some cases too, could wind up being a sibling. So, or maybe even somebody connected with your early education that you knew. So anyway, and also in some cases as well, could be about a dark depressing mental illness in some cases that you might wind up revealing, or I mean, in some cases that it could be, but in most cases I would say not, but that is still a possibility as far as this goes. Now, last but not least, Chiron will still be in Pisces, so the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Scorpio. So at this time for Scorpio, well, Scorpio might be experiencing some emotional wounds and suffering, perhaps with, in some cases with children, maybe expressing compassion toward children and to maybe people in their love or romantic life, or maybe they're not getting it from those people. A lot of this could also be, in some cases too, it could be through drugs or alcohol use that a child or romantic partner may succumb to, or maybe even some real, other real physical issues, such as problems with the toes or the feet of a child or romantic partner, or even the lymphatic system. This could be about where Scorpio has some suffering, maybe emotional suffering connected with ambivalence and confusion regarding even what hobby to take, how are they going to enjoy themselves, or even a creative endeavor. I mean, this could be really about being maybe gullible and deceived easily by children, by a romantic partner, and maybe being duped in connection with the speculative matter, being told that they're being promised that this was such and such was going to pan out and give them X amount of money, and was going to be very fortuitous, and maybe wind up not hardly getting anything what was stated to them. So, and as far as that as a possibility. So anyway, but at the same time, keep in mind that Chiron is the wounded healer, so it could be where you could be going through certain suffering and emotional wounds in connection with the placement at the time, but at the same time you could help those in those areas where, in this case with Pisces, you could help others deal with things that you're having difficulty dealing with in connection with this energy, in doing so with Pisces, like compassion and self-sacrifice. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Scorpio January 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Sagittarius January 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.